What's up guys, HTI here, and if you're into tech or you're just in the tech world in general, you might have heard about this phone named the Nubia Red Magic 5G gaming phone. Quite the name, but it was in the news, or the tech news at least, a couple weeks ago, and then it sort of just disappeared. Like, only a few people reviewed it, and then we never heard about it again. But this phone is still technically new. Like, the best color, in my opinion, is still available for pre-order. Like, it's not out yet. So while this phone is still new, let me share sort of a theory I have about this phone and phones in its category. And also, this video was inspired by all the people who messaged me on Instagram telling me that the iPhone SE was not worth it. Like, you know, my iPhone SE video kind of blew up and people liked the video, but they said my points didn't add up to a proper $400 phone. So, I mean, if you want to check out that video, that'll be linked right up there. Now, let's just set everything I said aside and do something quite interesting here. So, say you're a phone company, or a new phone company, just enter the space, nobody knows you, right? Nobody knows you. And you have $90 to spend on these 4 specs: camera, hardware, which is like screen and build quality, internal specs, and software. I know this is a bit irrational, like I don't know exactly how phone companies manufacture their stuff, but this is just to visualize, so stay with me here. Now you do have this $90 limit and these 4 categories or components, but each component varies from $0 all the way up to $50 in price. So 0 means basically nothing, so a $0 camera would mean no camera, like literally no camera, and a $50 camera would mean best in class camera for a smartphone. Now, what would you do with these categories, right? You'd go probably best in class hardware because you want the best screen, because that's the one you're mainly looking at. Maybe probably a $20 camera, and then you just go 10 for each of the other ones. Now, a $20 camera doesn't sound that good, right? It's not that good. You want a good camera. A camera and screen is probably the most important components of a phone. That's arguable, but since that is the case, you can bump that 50 down to a 40 for the build quality. 40 is still decent, like I said, so that gives you an average camera. Now, you have $10 specs and $10 software. Do you realize how bad $10 software is? And specs are really important, like your CPU, your RAM, your internal storage. All of this relies on $10 specs. Like, those are garbage. So what are you gonna do? But then, you gotta think, you're a new phone company. You have $0 on marketing. How is anyone going to know your phone exists? So that's where the problem comes in. So for those of you complaining about how these budget phones are so bad, like from newer companies, they don't have enough money to spend on all this and then not have money on marketing. And then if you think of phones like the iPhone SE, the possible Pixel 4a, they're from bigger companies, right? Why can't they just do that? Why can't they just make one of the best phones possible? But like I said in the iPhone SE video, it's just gonna outsell their bigger flagship smartphones. And you know, the iPhone SE sort of does that, but not fully, because you know, the iPhone craze is always gonna exist. So that brings us to the Nubia Red Magic 5G gaming phone. This has a 144 Hz refresh rate, which is the fastest refresh rate on any phone ever, period. Like flagship or not, no phone has ever had a 144 Hz refresh rate. And then it has a Snapdragon 865 along with a bold 12 GB of LPDDR5 RAM and 256 GB of internal storage along with 5G support. Now, none of the specs are upgradable, but it's fine because these are kind of bleeding edge specs for a phone. I mean, the 256 you can argue, but still, that's pretty good. Now, you gotta look at this price. You may think, oh, maybe it's just one of those random companies who made sort of a flagship phone to compete. But let's look at the price here. This is $580, which is almost half of all the other main flagship smartphones from big brand companies. So what I'm saying here is that this phone, which is possibly competing or even better than some of the big brand flagships, is half the price of those phones. So why aren't there more phones like this? So imagine, again, you're a small company and you are trying to make a new phone in the new space. You don't have enough money to make a phone like this and then sell it for a lower price point than all those phones. You just don't have the money. And then 2, say you are a flagship smartphone maker, maybe you're OnePlus or Samsung, and you want to make a phone like this, it will easily, and I mean easily, sell out over your higher end flagship smartphones. And then even if you do gain a few customers, that won't make up for the loss that you lost in the flagship race. And then your standard as a company lowers down to a $500 higher mid-range phone maker. So that's why smaller budget phone makers don't do this, and that's why flagship smartphone makers don't do this. So why isn't this phone selling out like I said it should? Well, marketing. Like I mentioned in the first part of this video, marketing is a key component to a company's success, especially in the phone market, a huge market with so many companies, especially dominated by higher class phones and sort of budget phones. People don't know which company this is. This phone does not have enough marketing, and I only saw a few reviews on it. So that's overall why this phone isn't as popular as it should be. So if more companies make phones like this and do market it well, this will be a big hit, and this might be the new flagship phone, like the phone that sells out the most. Anyways, those are my thoughts. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to message me on Instagram or comment them in the comment section below. But that pretty much sums it up. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.